Well, welcome to Thrive Talks. Um, I will let you all introduce yourselves. Dean, let's start with you. Tell the wonderful people watching who you are, what you do.
Well, my name is Dean Earls, and I'm the owner of Playback LA, a recording studio here in LA, and I have a background in A&R and artist management, which I still do a little bit of. And yeah, my passion is in finding and developing talent and just creating a space for people to work and be creative and collaborate and just, make art.
Yeah, nice. And Michael, do you want us to be calling you evrYwhr? What's better for you?
My name is definitely evrYwhr. It's everywhere. Yeah, man. My name is evrYwhr, and I'm an artist, singer-songwriter. I write for other people. I write for myself. Man, honestly, it's been, how about this? I'm going to introduce it as this. I've been on this journey as a creative, discovering myself within an industry that believes it knows who I am.
Wow, I think we should be snapping now.
I like that.
That's very poetic. Well, Dean, your bio, by the way, is very impressive, I must say. Can you let us know how you kind of started in the industry? I saw that you started in Ireland.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Ireland. I've been in LA now almost 14 years. And I started originally. I'd got kicked out of school pretty young at 14, and I went and done some audio engineering school. And from there, I kind of became like a studio rat, hanging out at different studios and interning at different studios. And eventually, in 2006, I just turned 19. I'd graduated from that place at 17 over in Ireland, and I came here at 19 and done what was supposed to be a 9-month course in audio engineering at a place called SAE Institute, which used to be on Sunset Boulevard. And long story short, one day a couple of people came in looking for interns, and it was actually they were really looking for people to just come over and clean their studio up. And when I got there, I realized what they were doing. So I went downstairs, and at the time I used to smoke cigarettes, and I went out, had a cigarette, and totally by accident, this guy from downstairs, which was a separate studio, he came outside and he was talking to the other guys, and they're like, "Oh, these are all interns." And the guy was like, "Is anyone here into hip hop?" And I was the only one who said yeah. So he said, "Come back tomorrow with your resume." And I did. I went back the next day at noon and brought my resume, and I went in, and as I was sitting in there, I realized, oh, this is a studio with a lot of great stuff happening. So, all these records from like Snoop Dogg, and was records from Tupac back in the day. And at this point, I still didn't know whose studio it was, but I knew that there was a lot of good things happening there. And I ended up getting the job and starting the next day. And a couple of days into working there, I found out it was actually Snoop Dogg's studio. And then I was, an intern there I worked there for like 2 years. I was an intern for a little over a year before I got an engineering position in there, but it was crazy. It was like 6 days a week, 6 days a week, working 16, 17, 18 hours a day. But it was a great experience. I got to network and connect with a lot of great people and learn exactly how the business works in there in terms of being a studio engineer and a producer,
Yeah, I mean, with Snoop Dogg, that's cool. And evrYwhr, how did you get into the whole singer-songwriter? Your passion was singing first or writing?
I think it kind of came together, but I'll say writing came a little bit after. Just to give it a quick, I started on a crushed velvet couch listening to records with my pops, Motown, Stax. Around 9 years old, I ended up singing songs. I was a travel hockey player, and we would be on our way to games, and I would be singing this song. It was by New Edition. It's called Boys to Men. These are the things that change boys to men. Right? So I'm like enjoying that. And I just realized that music had did so much for me in my life and expression. And I found out that there are things called songwriters and people who are, just doing certain things like that. So I was like, I want to do all of it. I want to write. I want to be my own artist. And, at a teen, I just kept going. Moved out to Arizona. I got a job in IT. And it was something that it was a blessing, but I wasn't passionate because I always knew that I was moving into music. And from where I'm from, which is Port Huron, Michigan, there's no industry, there's no touch base with that. You don't have family that understands that, you know. So I had to develop and understand my own way and find my own way in this world. That's very confusing at times. Yet I had some blessings. Everything's a blessing when you look at it, but ended up in 2012. It was like 2012. It was like December. We're on Twitter at the time, me and my production partner at the time, Dio Speaks, and we got in contact with Street Symphony, who was doing some A&R work over at Reach Records with Lecrae and all these guys. And we touched base, sent over some records. He asked for some records. We sent it over. Within 48 hours, they cut the check. And we started working on Reach Records, started working on everything within them. And got 2 placements on what ended up being Lecrae's Gravity album. Ended up garnishing a Grammy and a Dove Award.
Yes. Yeah, congrats on that.
Thank you. And then being able to tie in things, and even on opportunities where you didn't fully get the placement, you got an opportunity to interact with somebody who has inspired you in your creations and things along those lines. You know, stepped into studios with 1500 and Nothing, got an opportunity to work in with them for a while, and just find my way. I've been around a lot. I've done country work with Dustin Lynch. I've done K-pop with Super Junior, pop, Leona Lewis, all these different things. And as I was on this journey, I realized I wanted to find out what I was giving. You know, everybody has their world. And when you enter the artist's world, you're embodying their character, their characteristics, the thing that they've built. And I started recognizing that it's an honor to be able to give to somebody else's world. But I was like, man, you know, what does that look like for me? What does that look like for me? And as you get indoctrinated into the industry, and let me know if I'm being long-winded, but I'll wrap it up soon. As you get indoctrinated into the industry, the first thing that you get, you know, I started meeting over with Sony, Warner, Universal, different things along those lines, and getting different meetings and meeting with different label heads and, you know, A&Rs and whatnot. And they're saying they know that they're looking for. And I'm trying to crack the door open to different things. I'm like, hey, but what about this idea? And it's a little bit different. So I had to recognize that, okay, cool. Navigating the songwriting space, it's majority until you build that trust. It's about making sure that you're adding to the world of the artist.
With regards to like your talent search, because I think I remember reading that you also offer labels, you know, writers and musicians and stuff like that. What is normally the process in choosing a writer?
There's no really set process for me, but that was one of the things that I found that I was good at was finding good writers and putting them in the right rooms with either the right producer or the right artist, or the right artist and the right producer or whatever, you know. And that's kind of what I specialized in. I'm a songwriter myself, although I haven't been very creative in the last year because building this studio and stuff was taking up most of my time, and I'm getting more into it now. But I'm very much a song man. I'm all about the song, and you know, I love a good song, and I'm really good at, you know, identifying and relating to good, strong, solid songwriters, you know. But like evrYwhr was saying there, you know, one of the things that kind of turned me off the A&R process these days is, like, you know, when you're working for a record company and you're working for a record label, there's not, when he was saying, oh, you know, how about we try this, and it's a little bit different now. I don't know if this is what he was getting at, but it's very different now in the terms of that, like, they base a lot of their decisions off of data, and I think data is great, and I think it's great to have it. I think it's definitely advantageous to have the data and to be able to look at it, but the sad part about it is if you're putting so much weight on that, there's a lot of people getting missing out on opportunities. I mean, if we went purely off of data, you know, 50 or 60 years ago, would we ever have heard the Beatles or Jimi Hendrix or, you know, any of these kind of people, if you know what I'm saying, you know?
Yeah, it's all about the breakthrough of like different sounds and what is different.
You know, and
because
it's a
even
business. You recognize that it is a business, and business smart decisions go based off of what they believe has worked up so far.
Yeah.
Right. And there just needs to be a balance. There just needs to be a balance. And so people like what I'm hearing from Dean, he gets an opportunity to bring balance, you know?
Yeah, I think I remember watching what's that movie? Rhapsody. Oh my God.
Oh, Bohemian
Okay,
Rhapsody.
Queen.
Yeah.
I had a feeling you
Sorry.
were going to say that.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a classic example too, like taking risks, going outside of the box. But then they also had some issues at first, I remember, well, based on the movie.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's like, if that didn't happen, it wouldn't have been a big hit that it is now. Because they were, as you said, Dean, looking at the data and like what they saw at the time was a hit.
Yeah.
So it's like when music changed also with regards to, you know, the influence of EDM and all these other stuff. Like if that wasn't done then and became what it is, you know, I don't think that will have probably seen the light of day.
You know, Billie Eilish, and I'll just interrupt this real fast. Billie Eilish just recently spoke about how it took her team to be able to get these certain specific songs out that actually became hits in the real world.
Right.
It took her team.
Yeah, that's Billie Eilish.
I mean, and support that because people were saying, "Oh, you don't got a hit. You don't got a hit. You don't got a hit." It's like it ended up being so impactful, though. We don't have all the answers.
Yeah, one of the things that I speak to, like with some of the artists, it's basically like I may not like what you're doing, but it doesn't mean that someone else won't like it. Mm-hmm. Like it might not be my cup of tea, but it'll be someone else's. And I think like there's enough people listening to music that there's enough pockets that you could fall in. And it's also like keeping to yourself too. Like if this is the genre or the mix or the feel that you want to do, I'm sure there'll be someone that could share that same sentiment. Yeah. What do you all think about, Dean, I think you wanted to say something.
No, go ahead.
What do you think about labels versus independent?
I think the shift towards independent and with artists having more control is definitely a welcome shift, and it's happening slowly, you know. And I think now is a better time than ever for independent labels to really have a push in the industry and kind of get a hold or get a foothold within the industry, because I mean, if you look at the likes of like Chance the Rapper, I always reference him and what he's done. You know, it's really amazing, and it's kind of taken that power back that the labels were trying to hold on to. I mean, I think every artist should own their own their own masters, and you know, they should have a lot more control over the material that they're working on and what they're putting out and whatnot. So yeah, I'd like to see the independents come and the boutique labels come out and kind of change the game a little bit and take a little more control, you know?
Yeah. evrYwhr, what do you have to say about that?
You know, I would have to say that in regards to major versus indie, right? And are you talking about the decision of should you go major or indie, or what are the benefits of, I want to know.
Yeah, because obviously going independent, depending on your deal, you might have more control over certain things, but then also as a larger label, they may be able to also offer certain things that you cannot do at that stage in your life. So what do you, like, obviously there's a lot of independent labels and smaller labels.
That's the differentiation as well. And I believe that there's also a misunderstanding about independent, you know, and when you see somebody, and this is not all cases, but the majority of cases, when you see somebody that's made it to a larger platform and has done it as an independent artist, they still had support.
Yeah.
You know, you still get support. It takes support to be able to do these things. So I would have to say it really all depends. How is it, when it comes down to monetarily, what kind of pinch are you in the moment or whatever it may be?
Yeah.
Or do you believe in what the vision of the label structure is, what they stand on as far as their foundation of principles. But it's a relationship game. It's also, it's a business. So what's in black and white can hit you. I spoke around a little bit. I would say that whatever is best for whoever, and you just have to know that for yourself. But just know that it takes more than you are enough. You are enough to do it. It just takes a lot. So if you can build a good team around you, that's beneficial, necessary.
Yeah. On that topic, Dean, you have Austin Sexton that you're working with now. Is he the only artist that you're working with? And how did you find him?
Austin, I've been working with Austin for a couple of years, and he's a phenomenal songwriter and producer. And he's, as a producer and songwriter, he's worked with a lot of artists himself. He's here somewhere in the building. But I was going to tell you if you want to get him on one of these, he'd be more than happy.
Yeah, for sure.
But Austin, I met him through a friend of mine, actually my business partner that I own the studio with. We met at the school I went to 13 years ago when I first came out here. And we kept in touch, and over the years, we never really worked together, but over the years we kept in touch, and we ended up meeting at some like conferences and, networking events and touching base. And he actually introduced me to Austin. And at the time I was doing A&R with Atlantic Records. And I played Austin's music for at a round table at Atlantic Records. And Sean Barron, who was the VP at the time, he was watching in on Instagram Live while the other main guy, Gary Leon, you met Gary when we were in Trinidad, right?
Yeah, I wasn't in Trinidad at the time, so I saw it, but I didn't.
You weren't there the first time we were out there?
No, we linked through what's his name, Taylor. But Phil, socially, like on social media.
I thought we met the first time we were out there, man. Maybe I must have been tripping. But anyway, Gary was there. He was leading this thing, and we were over at Atlantic Records, a roundtable thing, and we done a listening session. And basically, I played a couple of Austin songs, which was very, very different than all the other stuff that was being played, because mostly it was trap music and that kind of thing. And I played Austin stuff, and everybody was kind of feeling it. But Sean, who was watching in on the live feed, like text Gary on the side. He's like, "Yo, we got to get this guy in." So Austin came in, and they brought him in, and he's done a bunch of writing sessions with some other artists and stuff like that. So yeah, he's a phenomenal artist. He's more like a alternative indie R&B / soul kind of. It's hard to kind of sum him up, but he's actually just wrapping up his latest album now. It's like some of the best stuff I've heard from him. It's amazing. So we can't wait to share that with you guys.
Awesome.
Oh, that's exciting. And evrYwhr, what do you think in terms of how do you think streaming and the likes of TikTok and all these things, platforms have helped the industry, like as an artist?
As an artist, it gives you access to people, to real people, and a lot of times.
Yeah, do you utilize the platforms that exist though yourself?
You said, do I?
In terms of like TikTok, for example.
TikTok, I haven't tapped into it. I opened one up. I did some free vibe top line melodic things, just to create a space. It's nothing that I'm necessarily committing to right now, because I'm in my studio building a sound and exploring the space and falling back in love with music. So, timing might bring it, but I also don't want to spread myself too thin with distractions.
See, sorry to interrupt you real quick, but that brings me right back to what I was saying earlier about the with the way A&R is these days and being so focused on that. I think the best artists and the best musicians are focused purely on their art. You know what I mean?
On the art.
And so it kind of, there's people who are out there who are doing like mediocre stuff, but they're excellent with TikTok and they're excellent with Instagram and they're ahead of the game and, and they're getting their market. And so that's why we get this saturated market full of all these people who really their music's not great, but the kids love them because what, they're funny or they've got a cool gimmick going on that goes on with their stuff. The real artists and the great artists are out there doing what they do. They're making art. They're in the studio doing what they're exactly. You know what I mean?
Hey man, Dean, who are you listening to these days, man?
Who am I listening to? I tell you, you know, recently I haven't been listening to anything new, nothing recent. I've been listening to a lot of old stuff, man. I've actually just recently started going back to the old Chili Pepper stuff. I've been listening to who else? I've been listening to a lot of Hendrix. I just, you know, I mix it up.
Got you, yeah, man.
I want to hear your stuff. We got to connect after this.
We will, man.
Yeah, I mean, evrYwhr, his music is actually really cool. Very
I pay you handsomely to say that.
No, but like we met in LA about 6 years ago, or 7 years ago. I lost track. And we actually went to it was a listening event you had or something. Can't remember. And then like everyone pretty much, you know, enjoyed his stuff. But what are y'all doing, or how do y'all think COVID has changed the landscape in terms of, you know, live events that are happening, and obviously cutting down some of the potential income that an artist could have? What do you think the next shift is looking like it's going to be?
It's definitely, well, I mean, there's a lot of positives I think came from this for artists and in terms of like cloud collaboration and all that kind of stuff. And then we've seen like with these live Facebook and Instagram concerts that these living room concerts are something that can work. I mean, I know it's something that a few companies over the years have tried to do, and it's been difficult, but I think it's kind of proved that, you know, that's another form of income that artists can actually benefit from if that's something that could be, you know, that's something that could be built upon. I mean, I know it's never going to be the same as actually being in the venue or in the arena with the band and, you know, feeling the vibe and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's shown that there's definitely, it's definitely possible. But I think what's most that I've liked about this, what I've seen from this whole thing, is how people are collaborating and just getting creative, and people are like utilizing this Zoom and other things to just, you know, create music in different ways, and that's been fun. That's been cool.
Yeah, and evrYwhr.
As far as it goes with streaming, as far as it goes with streaming concerts and things along those lines, I think what we're doing is we're in a space of transition, and nothing stays the same. So we always have to evolve. All this is doing is creating another avenue for somebody to invent a new way for us to appreciate. The next generation of listeners isn't going to, quite possibly, you know, depending on how things pan out, isn't going to have the same opportunities or experiences. This may have been something that changes the course of our existence. Who knows? So yeah, that's a piece of it, but we will evolve, and where necessity brings, where we're faced with necessity, that's where some of the greatest things come from, and we just have to pivot.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think also it made by force talents more engaged with their fans, especially like the DJs and some artists that are doing the live performances. I think it also allowed them to be more interactive with their fan base, and more time, as Dean said, for collaborations. What is the best way for an artist to locate or be in the space of an A&R?
There's so, it's
in
not
terms
easy
of reaching you. Like, how could people
to reach me or to reach, you know?
Well, in general, like, what platform or how uh, they should go about it to be
Yeah,
discovered.
a lot of people hit me up on Instagram, and I like to I mean, I try and go through all my messages on there. I haven't been getting as many these days because I'm not really active with the label. But I mean, I still, anything that I get that I like, and if I know or find a fit for, I'll always pass it on to whoever I believe should take a listen to it. Or if I think such and such at this label or such and such at this company will like that or can do something with it, I'll pass it on. Or if it's something that I can do something with, or we have collaborators here that can do something with, then I'll always I'll bring them in and try and do it. Try and do something with it that way. So yeah, Instagram's a good one. I know a lot of other artists have gotten their A&R meetings and even their label deals through social media and stuff like that. If that doesn't work, give me more formal and do it through LinkedIn, or sometimes even writing a good old-fashioned letter and sending it in that way. But yeah, Instagram is good for me, and I think that works for most
Letter.
people. I know some guys have
That
a lot of followers.
old-fashioned letter.
An
I
old-fashioned
know.
letter.
I was like, a letter. Like
Yeah.
those things still work.
Well, I did it. I did it a few years ago when I wasn't getting a response from somebody. I blew them up with letters in the mail instead, and then they responded to that. And I think that's how Gary Leon got his job at Atlantic too. He sent a letter to Mike Caron. I think I could be wrong about that, but
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes
So,
if you can't get them to open their DM, they do open their mail.
Yeah. I mean, it does make sense.
Make it look
I
like a check.
guess.
Make it look like it's a check, and they'll definitely open it.
that's awesome. That's so you got to be creative too. Like
No,
that's for real. You got to be creative. Imagine, matter of fact, somebody watching this, I literally want you to get one of those envelopes that looks like it's a check and possibly make out a check, something that looks like it. You could do this shit and send somebody something, send somebody an A&R or a manager or somebody that you're trying to get in contact with, make it look like a check, like money. And
Yeah, it's brilliant.
put a message in that bad boy saying, if you want this, you're gonna need me.
So
You know, something. It's like, wait, who is this right now?
and if it works, you got to send me a check. Or y'all can send me a check anyway. It's P.O. Box LD.
Slide up in their Venmo account. If they won't get in the DM, hit them with a Cash App.
There you go.
Right. I actually did not know anything about this Cash App until recently when all these artists doing lives, it's like, my Cash App is this or whatever. I'm like, what? What is Cash App?
I was joking. I'm gonna put that on record. I was joking.
But with you everywhere, you had, when is your next project coming out?
Ooh.
And are you looking to get it signed, or what's your direction?
Man, I'll tell you what. All right, I'm going to communicate this with you. I have an entire album that's ready. It's ready to go. I have music visuals, these different things like that. And as I have fallen back in love with music as well, which I love my music that I have. Absolutely incredible. I collaborated with Blair Taylor. He's absolutely incredible, my longtime collaborator and production partner. Blair, yes, God. And also I said, what do I love? What do I love that I just want to be able to give? And man, I've been falling in love with music again. Like I said, I listen to Kanye Bonet, but I go back to the 67 to 73 space, man. I just listen to that music and I just say, it's just a space where it's just touched me because it's experimental. There's so much of that. And I just really love being able to, that's why I love jazz too. You just get an opportunity to experiment and do it in the name of progression, while also paying homage to forward. So you asked me, when's my next project? We slowed things down as far as like label connection, everything along those lines, as far as releases goes during this COVID. And I also wanted to make sure that I'm tapping into all of what I have, you know? So long story short, I don't know, bro, I'm doing it.
But Dean, with regards to like artist development, what do you look for? Like more raw talents, or like that sweet sound, or do the way how they write their lyrics?
Yeah, I mean, I like, I don't know, it's always different. It's just if you know, just catch a vibe with somebody and someone that has a great sound, great always raw talent, and somebody who's got a lot of substance in their music, you know, if they've got substance in what they're doing and passionate about what they're doing and there's something there to build on, then yeah, I love that, you know. I love just bringing somebody in and having them come in and work with like me or Austin or me and OT and just help them find their sound and develop their sound. And I love, you know, co-writing and collaborating with these people. So yeah, raw talent is definitely a big one for me.
With regards to, and we're tie up soon because it's almost time. With regards to launching that first song, right? How much time should an artist prepare themselves to actually, you know, launch that first song? And what direction they should probably, if they're doing it by themselves, what should they, you know, do first?
Are you're speaking to me or to Dean?
Well, both. So, I mean, you could answer first.
Got you. Yeah. When it comes down to preparing yourself, are we talking about, you said mentally for it, or like, you know, what stages?
No, like, you know, yeah, the stages.
Got you. The stage. I think it's awareness, creating awareness, because I've done some studies in the marketing strategies. I'm a sales business marketing major myself, just graduate myself. And the one thing is knowing where you're directing it. So if you got a project and a product, you know, who are you doing a show with? You know, who do you think you're doing a show with, and who are you targeting this towards? You know, so you got to be able to understand that. So it's going to take a little time to understand who's going to appreciate your art, so that you're not just sending it out to somebody's grandma thinking that she's going to love your new trap album, you know? So it's that, and then engaging the people who you already have, engaging the people who are already on the boat and finding out which ones are on the boat just because they wandered on and which ones are on there intentionally to get there to the destination with you. So being able to lock in on your key audience, the real people that are the numbers accumulated where everybody's like, oh man, I got to get to 100,000. Oh, I don't have an M. Oh, I need a blue check. Yeah, well, the people who are following you are real people. And they're ready to ride for you. So connecting with them on that space. Long story short, I know we got time. I would say do a 20-day launch. Do a 20-day launch on a single, 10 days of photo shoots and preparation and rolling out as it goes along while doing a countdown, then coming out the other
okay.
side to your release, 10 days to your release, and then coming out the other side of it, 10 more days, which it really takes more than 20 days. But just to give you this, 10 more days outside of this is the reminder that this is going here. Then you're in your first 10 days, you're picking up editorials, you're picking up interviews and things along those lines that you can use as visual interaction and content for that 10 days of promotion after you do the release. You know, so it's all about preparation and going there. But if you got a team too, you know, it's all about being able to have that. If I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. Because like I'm working with an artist now, and I'm going through that process right now, and it is interesting, you know. But I know Dean Austin he's not really he's not an artist first. Well, I mean a singer, right? He's a producer.
Yeah, it's hard. He's definitely more of an artist. He's just, I think at this time he's probably more established as a writer and producer, but it's hard to, you know, to kind of put him in one box or the other.
In a box.
But
well, with regards to what evrYwhr just said, was there any other, or is there any other direction you will also add to what he said with regards to releasing your first song?
I like that plan. I like what he said, because it's good to have yourself some sort of a plan. You set yourself a number of days or a number of weeks to do, you know, this portion, and a number of weeks to do that portion. Because what happens is if you spend too much time on certain things, you can just start overthinking and second guessing everything, and then you start, you know, coming up with let's do this one instead of that one, and then the artist gets confused, and it's better to just, you know, go with the initial gut and, like what he said, set a set time frame for each step of the way in each process and just knock it out, you know. I like that.
All right, one last song, not song, one last question. With regards to releasing, how many sounds do you think you should release before actually dropping that EP? And what kind of space in between you should leave?
When you're saying songs, right? How many songs you should release before?
Well, tracks, yeah.
I mean, if it's an EP, maybe one, two max, and then drop the EP as of set time between each one. It's really hard to say, but I would gauge the amount of feedback, you know, and how much traction the first one is getting, and then when that's kind of starting to fizzle out, then maybe drop the EP or drop the next song, you know.
Yeah. How have you done it before in the past, everywhere?
You said what?
How have you done it in the past?
Check it out. Actually, I want to talk about somebody who's doing something right now. There's an artist by the name of Bravo. And I was having a conversation with him at a picnic and shit, just eating. And I was like, hey man, what are you working on? He said, well, I'm going to be releasing a song a week for 52 weeks. He's going to do a song every week for an entire year. And it took him, I believe it was 9 months. He was doing 9 months worth of songs. And they just started the 52-week release. So the consistency of that is incredible. That's incredible. But even a song, I would say, you know, give yourself, if sticking with that 20-day plan, let's say you did that, and he's talking about EP. I agree with Dean. Don't, you know, but this is a singles game as well. If you're releasing a project, you might just release so many singles and then none of them are even on the project. I've been seeing that, you know?
Yeah, I saw that too.
But, you know, there's no one way to do it. I think if I could contribute this, create a blue ocean. You know, we can come up with ideas right now, but a Harvard graduate and the professor, as I believe it, they wrote a book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. And a lot of what we try to do, of course, because, you know, if something has worked, we'll do it again, right? Nothing's really original under the sun. But when you can find an idea or a niche that allows you to stand out, you know, you may say, all right, cool, we're going to release a song a day, or we're going to do a song and then we're going to release the video, and then we're going to release the lyric video, and it'll just be a whole month of releases. You know what I mean? Which is another idea that I came up with as far as just different things to go. You know, shit. Matter of fact, yeah, use that. Can I say shit?
Yeah, you could say shit.
Okay, cool. Use that. Get your content together and release the song. Take a week, release the song on 1 week, then release a lyric video, then release an official video the next week, and then release the behind the scenes, and then repeat for 2 months, and then allow your album to come out, you know, or for 3 months, and then allow your album to come out, where you've already garnished the attention with the consistency, you know?
Yeah. All right, so, awesome. Do you all have any last points for our amazing audience?
Yes. You go ahead.
Man, this is what I want to say. As songwriters, as artists, this is your journey. And not one person is going to take you further than you can take yourself. Don't come into this thing believing that you have to make it, because you're already making it and you already are. You don't have to become anything. You're just going to unlock different pieces of yourself. So allow the journey to be the journey. And if you continue to focus on the clouds of goals a little bit too much, you might recognize that every time you reach a set of clouds, it wasn't as light and as fluffy as you thought it would be. And in reality, it's a pocket of condensation, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be damp. You get what I'm saying? But when you reach a layer of clouds, there's always another layer of the clouds that you got to get to. So enjoy this journey, enjoy this ride, no matter where you are. Just like Ira Glass says, we have a gap. Close the gap and allow yourself to rise. Allow yourself to thrive. Huh?
Keep
Thrive.
thriving. And Dean?
I like that. Yeah. I think it's important for everyone to know if you're, when you're chasing your dreams, never give up, never quit. A lot of the time it just doesn't come as quickly and as easily as we all would like it to. My own personal journey has taken a long, long time. For 14 years that I've been here, to have a recording studio was my dream since I was a child. It's only happened in the last year, and that's just from grinding and taking all the negatives and just
clap.
See, man, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you.
So I think, and there's been a lot of, I would have had a lot of excuses along the way, or a lot of opportunities to just say, you know what, this isn't for me anymore. But instead I pushed through all that. And I think it's very important for artists is to have a thick skin and push through all of the barriers that are going to come before you. Because if you don't kick them down, they're just going to stay there.
Yes, God.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Well, thank you all very much for this. I mean, it's much appreciated, giving your time to, hopefully inspire or educate the wonderful thrivers out there that are trying to get into the industry.
And I want to celebrate Thrive too, because you just been doing it, man. You guys have really been doing it.
Oh, thanks.
You pivot with how everything goes. You do things in person. Now you're doing things online. You're getting things going. And I just want to just say I applaud Thrive for being able to pull us together to enhance the lives of others. You know what I mean? It's a sense of mentorship.
Much appreciated.
Philanthropy.
But yes, I would like to thank also the whole team behind. It's not just me, and it is a challenging situation. It is the first one for us, and we're each day, I've been probably speaking with you all. We've been changing times and days, and this is with everyone. And it's different time zones. Luckily you're all in the same time zone, so that's cool. But yes, I really hope that people get the message. Our goal at Thrive is to make sure that everyone could thrive. We try to, bridge the gaps and break down the walls as much as we can, utilizing the network that we have, and hopefully, give more opportunities, because I believe that once someone knows that they could actually get a platform or actually be able to do something, they might be more motivated to actually do it and practice. Because coming from Trinidad, I've seen artists give up faster because they think that we're from a small island, they won't have a chance to, and I'm sure, Dean, when you were in Trinidad, you probably would have seen or heard a lot of amazing talent.
Oh yeah,
that Trinidad has.
So much talent.
It's ridiculous.
We're blown away.
Yeah. And I think, once they see more of us, on the larger stages, once they see things could actually happen, they will be more motivated and hopefully educate themselves on the process and how to be professional and how to handle certain things. Because, that is a other situation that we have in the Caribbean. Everything is, on island time and this island mentality, which they need to also snap out of. Mm-hmm. But that being said, we get there. Hopefully things like this multiply and we're able to, not have that I'm on top or I have a Grammy or I am this, I am not here to help you. I'm focusing on me. So I hope, people understand that people like yourselves, willing to speak to anyone, reach out to people, network, and hopefully you could elevate yourself.
That sounds good to me.
Can I say one more thing real fast?
Yeah, sure.
Black Lives Matter. Cut the news.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. It's rough times.
Yeah, boy. I mean, if COVID wasn't enough, like, yeah, it's 2020, as the meme said in the earlier months, needs to restart.
Yeah, it needs to just end. Never mind.
Yeah, like, but as you said earlier, like, it has a lot of good positives that came out of it. Myself, like, I've been quarantined here, and I've actually been more productive, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Everyone that I've spoken to for this whole project actually have seen more like an increase in their productivity. It's amazing.
Wow.
It's like when things shut down, you are more productive.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing seeing people do, like, try their own skills and try, dabbling to other things. So we're coming out stronger.
Absolutely, it's definitely highlighted some more of the positives of just people spending more family time together, or just spending more times in their heads. I know it's had a negative effect on some people in that sense, but for us artists, I mean, we were all introverts anyway, so isolation wasn't too bad. We've been isolating, we were ready for this.
Was born in the dark.
And by the way, I just realized this is my first time using Zoom. Honestly, I just realized this whole time my name was Cat. I don't know how that happened.
That's amazing. It is Cat. This is incredible.
I am the Cat.
I saw that. But I'm sure we could crop that in the edit. Anyway, thank you all again for your time. And yeah, let's keep thriving. Let's do this in real someday.
Let's do it in real. In Bali, 2021.
Yeah, no, definitely. 2021. Oh, and a shameless plug. We're launching an app next month, actually, and it will allow creatives to meet each other and collaborate a lot easier.
Amazing.
So basically, if you're in different cities, if you're looking for a producer and you're a singer, you could find each other near you or in a different country. You could check out their profile. If you like it, you send them a message. You could also get jobs and everything. So look out for that. Thriving app.
Got you, man.
Anyway, all right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.